Hey everybody, what's going on? It is LiKwaiLao here with the LFam Streamers Podcast, and we are coming to you live right now with an amazing individual, and his story is absolutely wonderful. It teaches you to believe in yourself, and what we have here today is a special guest, Mike Beast Boy Davis. He's an MMA fighter, somebody who has really worked hard, and we're going to talk a little bit about his branding and his content that he puts out there and dealing with this pandemic, you know, as a MMA fighter in the UFC scene and going through the trials and tribulations of everything from training and just getting back on track. Without further ado, Mike Davis, welcome.
Hey, what's up?
How is everything? How's it going? And I heard you suffered a mild injury recently through training.
No, I've suffered many injuries. This year has been definitely one to remember, but I'm happy that it is coming to an end with our final month.
Perfect. So tell me a little bit. Your story, I know some of it, but I want to share it with the world because I think it's important as a fighter and upcoming fighters to know that, you know what, there's been a lot of fighters that have been there, a lot of fighters that have struggled in the past to get where they need to be. Tell me how you got into MMA. Was it just by mistake? Was it something of spark of interest, or was it kind of like somebody had a change of plans for you?
I would say it was kind of not forced onto me, but it was something that I had to do to overcome an obstacle that I was dealing with as a kid, where I was very small. I was in ninth grade. I was ahead of my class. I was very smart. So in ninth grade, I was maybe like 5 feet tall, and I got picked on a lot by the 12th graders, 11th graders. They're way bigger than me, 6 feet, 6'2", all the big jocks. So I figured I need to figure out how to defend myself. And the only place that was around was Cus D Amato's boxing gym, which is the home of Mike Tyson and Kevin Rooney and Cus D Amato himself. Of course, at my time, Cus D Amato wasn't around anymore, so it was Kevin Rooney, who was Mike Tyson's secondary coach. Now, I rode a bicycle over to that gym, told him that I'm getting picked on at school, Kevin Rooney. I'm getting picked on at school and that I don't know what to do, and I'm getting really depressed. I'm getting some weird anxious tics and all kinds of stuff, and he welcomed me into the gym free of charge. So he'll teach me how to box as self-defense, not to attack them back, but just to have me go there and say, hey, I know how to box, or I box here and there. I box like Mike Tyson, leave me alone, and maybe get some respect, which was good. So that's
amazing. I mean, just to know that, you know, again, he knew where you were coming from right off the bat. Yeah, and to offer that hand's amazing.
It was I felt humbled and honored. But I mean, 10th grade came along. I was still getting bullied around, so I wanted to join a sport at the school, something that would show me as an athlete in my school, because you know how athletes always get treated better for some weird reason. It's just like the come up. It's that come up.
They get away with a couple things.
Yeah. So I joined the wrestling team, and I started wrestling in 10th grade. And then over the summer, 10th to 11th grade, I got massive. I grew to like 5'6" or 5'7", and I was 30 pounds heavier coming into 11th grade. Knew how to box, knew how to wrestle. I was just done. Everyone left me alone. So then now it's the end of the school year. It's 12th grade. I'm 16, and my mother told me that her friends, her coworkers, were doing something called MMA, which is boxing and wrestling at the same time. That's just how she explained it to me, and I was like, all right, let me try that out. So I went there. It wasn't really a gym. It was just some like poles in the ground with rope tied around them to look like a ring.
Yeah.
Some cardboard on the floor where we could prevent from hitting the concrete ground. And we would watch YouTube videos of people doing like arm bars and triangles, and we would try them out on each other, learn them real quick, and then we'd go live and just wrestle with each other. And it was amazing. It was so much fun to me. And they said, you're really good, so we're going to try and get you a fight. And when they did, it was for a title of some kid that looked like me, wrestled like me, boxed like me. It's the only kid they could find that would fight me. And I fought, and I won by decision. Very hard. It was my hardest fight ever, but I won by decision. And that, after I won that fight, it kept me into the MMA scene. It gave me a feeling that I never felt before of accomplishment. But the one thing that made me stick to MMA was the fact that a bunch of my friends from high school were doing, I think it's called salvia or something like that. It was synthetic marijuana. And they were drinking. And again, we're 16 years old. But when they asked me to come over, I told them I couldn't because I was going to train with those guys. And when I went to go train, they ended up doing these drugs and drinking. And they got to the point where their common sense was taken away from them.
Wow.
And they started going out and robbing people.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so they ended up getting caught at a hotel robbing some guy at gunpoint, tying him to a chair. And I know, yeah, you're their best friends, right? So if you were hanging out with them, they'd be like, hey, let's go do something. So I'll either be driving the car, I'll be inside with them. I would have been maybe under the influence as well. So I would have joined in somewhere, even if I was just in the car. And they all got 8 years in jail.
Holy cow. So literally
Saved
that
my
night
life.
changed your life.
MMA saved my life. Yeah.
Wow. Guys, if you're just joining in, we're here with Mike Beast Boy Davis. He's a UFC fighter. He's going through a lot with these fighters go through injuries, but it's their stories from when they first started. It's so quick, it could be taken away. Yeah. And that's just a prime example of what could have happened, but it worked out differently in this case. And for you young listeners out there, or for the moms and dads out there that may have a troubled teen or something, listen, sometimes an environment such as an MMA gym or even just anywhere, wrestling, whatever, some type of activity, it might just start to change the way they think. It might just open up something that says, you know what, I'm gonna go here today instead of hanging out with these guys. This perfect example of it could save a life. 8 years, it'd be too late. It'd be too late by 8 years. You'd be all that time you would have missed. After you basically made it through your amateurs and you got into the next part of your pro career, what would you say the next big step that really changed your life as a fighter? What was that next big thing?
All right. That kind of switched, like kept me into MMA like a pro that made me want to continue the career, or are you asking
like once you were done and you were like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do my amateurs. What was that one thing that opened up your pro debut? What was that one thing that gave you that shot?
As an amateur, I didn't even want to fight, and I just kept doing it because I was good, and I figured if you're good at something, do it, right? And it was a sport I was good at. So I won a bunch of titles as an amateur, 5 titles at 155, and I moved down to Florida, and I was talking to one of my coaches, and they said, you're good enough to go pro. I mean, I put you with pro fighters all the time, and you demolish them. So we're going to look for a pro fight for you, and you're going to make your debut. And when I did, nobody would fight me at 155 or just anywhere from literally the whole east side of the United States.
Would you say because they were looking at your track record?
Pretty much.
And so they were trying to find basically an easy way to kind of build up their resume, because fighters have resumes.
Yeah, boxers do it a lot too.
And
they're like feeder fights where
you
fight someone who's 1-4 and this just using you to get to a 10-0 record, so you start getting paid more or something like that.
Right. Wow. I got to say that had to be frustrating, because just terrible. Thinking about that, it's got me like, it gives me chills. It makes me say, wait a minute here. Like, I just want my opportunity. Why are you taking it from me? Why are you stalling it for me? I don't have that time. I put all this blood, sweat, and tears. I have cuts and bruises that have healed. I want my time.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
wow. Oh,
And
well,
I've dealt with that, even in my pro career. In my amateur career, it happened. And then, like I said, when I started pro, the person they found was a kid from actually Florida, down South Florida, a four-time state champ wrestler, Richard Dens, something like that. And he was the number one fighter all around. Like he was just the 145, and I made my debut. I did miss weight at 145 by like zero point 0.9 pounds my first time trying to attempt it, and I looked terrible.
oof.
My eyes were sunken in, and it was a bad. But I took that fight and I won. I finished him in the third round, and right there, right at when I finished him, I was like, I'm really good at this. So I decided to take it as far as I could go.
Then a whole new confidence builder right there.
Yeah,
You know, and when you once you made your debut, you knew, okay, I got this pro fight underneath under my card. I got it. I'm going for my next one. Were you already then pretty much set on, I'm gonna get into the UFC. I'm gonna do it this time by this date, and on your way to achieve that, was there anything that kind of stood in your way? If it was an injury, was it the fighting thing again? Was it anything like that that kind of slowed it down for you? Because people need to know, as fighters, it's not always easy. It's
yeah.
not.
For some fighters, I mean, it goes smooth, but I'm definitely not one of those people. I didn't have anything given to me, and when I was training, getting ready for my fights, they would be looking around, and I couldn't find anybody for a whole year, just as now. So, in the meantime, while I was waiting for someone to accept an MMA fight, I turned to professional boxing, where I'm now 3-0 as a professional boxer as well.
Wow. So obviously, obviously train in Mike Tyson's gym. You're surrounded by boxers. Okay, so let's just think about this. You could throw hands. I'm gonna assume off the bat. There's no question about it. You could throw hands. So let's back up. You got wrestling underneath your belt. You got Mike Tyson gym underneath your belt. So you got to have some nice peekaboo attack movements, right? Because that's what Tyson was famous for. And that inside uppercut, that nice hook body shot. I mean, let's face it, straight, just nasty when it comes to that type of combination. And then you take it to another level and you learn the all-around game of mixed martial arts, which I think is just deadly when you put it all together as a fighter. Just, and I gotta admit, when people see that track record, even for me, if I just talking with you, I see that and I think, damn, this is an all-around fighter. This isn't just a wrestler. This isn't somebody who's just a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. This isn't just somebody that might have thrown a little hands, but he's not really good at with his hands. This is somebody that's actually an all-around fighter. My game isn't there as a striker. My game isn't there as a wrestler. And so they start questioning their abilities, and all of a sudden they're backing out of fights. I totally see that. When I remember something about you that I was reading. You end up fighting in, is it the Roy Jones?
Yeah.
Something? Is that like,
It's a promotion run. It's called Island Fights.
okay. And those fight cards are also looked at other big main
Yeah,
venues.
that's a regional promotion.
Oh, okay. Okay, perfect. So fighters that are trying to get to that next level, you want to do stuff like that to get.
100%.
Otherwise, you're not going to get seen.
I think that's your only way to get into the UFC is if you're fighting on little cards that are like statewide or so, you're not going to go anywhere. You have to fight people that are coming from out of country, like anywhere, this regional scene from across the United States. They're all flying in to fight on this promotion because this promotion already signs a deal with like the UFC Fight Pass, where at the UFC you can all stream and watch it at home, stuff like that, where you're fighting top tier competition.
Okay, yeah, like the UFC, was it fight card ticket or fight ticket or something?
Yes.
Okay, yep, I know exactly what you're talking about because I got it. I got it. It's obvious, right? Once you did that and you went in there, how many fights did you end up having to do in the island fights before you actually stepped up and you ended up doing a spot on the Contender or something, didn't you?
Yeah. Yes. So when I signed with Island Fights or Roy Jones Jr.'s promotion, I went 3 fights with them. And then the UFC called me and told me they want me to fight for the Contender Series, and I took that fight on the Contender Series against Sadiq Youssef, who is probably, honestly, in my opinion, he'll probably win the 145 title.
Wow.
In the UFC. He's currently undefeated in the UFC, so he's doing very well. And for me to have gone the distance with him, no, he didn't stop me. I didn't stop him. It was a war back and forth, equally skilled people. That shows me a lot of confidence in where I am.
Right. I mean, you got to figure that's another level.
That is top tier level.
Wow.
And when I ended, I did lose that fight on the Contender Series, and I went back to Island Fights because even though they did talk about how they wanted to sign both of us, you can't be signed to the UFC off a loss. It's not going to happen. So I went back to Island Fights, and I took a 155 title fight against Elvin Brito, where I won that regional scene 155 belt for Island Fights.
Yep.
And then I fought Mexico's national Muay Thai champ, and I beat him as well. And then they called me to fight Gilbert Burns on a 4-day notice.
Burns?
Yeah, Gilbert Burns. Yeah.
Wait. He's like grappler. Like, he's a serious grappler.
Big time grappler.
Like, guys, if you don't know who Burns is, hold on, back up for a minute. This dude is, I'm talking world-class top jiu-jitsu. Right? This dude's pretty good. How long did you 4 days notice and you step in the ring with this guy?
So I was working at Tire Kingdom, and I was just signing one of the papers, and my manager called. And I was like, oh, it's my manager. Let me step out real quick. Answer this. So he asked me, and he's like, hey, Mike, I know this is kind of quick notice, but UFC is offering you a contract. Not only will you get a 4-fight contract, but you'll get in this weekend to fight for the UFC. And it's not an easy fight. It's against Gilbert Burns. Nobody's willing to fight this guy. But
wow.
I know that you will. And I was like, yeah, I will. He's like, yes, let's see what you can do. And then we signed that contract. And I immediately that day, I left down to Fort Lauderdale. I was living in Orlando at the time.
Holy cow. Did you have to go up in weight, or did you have to cut weight?
I did have to cut weight. I walk around like 162 at the time. And
right.
This is a 155 fight.
So you had to cut a little bit. 4 days notice with a world-class grappler.
And he is not a 155er at all.
No.
I don't know how he made that weight.
He's probably real weight 20 pounds heavier.
No, he's real weight probably like 200.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Holy cow, guys.
He fights at 170 now. He can't even go down to 155.
Oh.
Yeah, he can't even make 55 anymore.
Okay, so yeah, this is a way heavy. This is like if you're going back to your schoolyard days, this was one of the big bullies.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And for the record, I fight at 145.
Wow.
As a professional, yeah, I fight 145, and this is 170.
So just imagine if you could get your fights at 145, the domination that you would.
I'm so much bigger than everyone at 145.
Oh man, I kind of wish fighters would just step up. You know, like it's okay. It's okay to lose. It's okay to get better. I'm kind of, the feeder fights. You know, I see a lot.
In the UFC, that doesn't happen. You just fight.
Yeah.
You don't really have a choice.
But that's once you're signed contract. It's like go time. Yep. Oh wow. Just out of curiosity, with that gentleman, how long did you end up lasting in there with him? Because most people aren't gonna last 30 seconds.
At the end, the last like 50 seconds of round 2.
2 rounds, almost 3 rounds.
First round was very, very back and forth, very close.
Man.
Second round, they came out with a game plan was to not take punishment anymore because I rocked him in the first round, and they didn't want my striking. So second round, he comes out. I think we exchanged once, and then he gets me on the floor, and it was a pain to get him off.
Wow.
Yeah. And
I've seen some of your ground game. You got some serious stamina. No doubt about it. You can roll with the best of them. That's what you're really good at what you do. You really are good.
Now, back then, I don't think I was anywhere near as good as I am now.
Wow. I would love to see. I mean, if we could take back time and kind of switch it right now, that'd be be a different story. So when your next fight was with who at that point? Is this the one you're going into the Contender? Is this the one that you're going into? You're fighting for a spot. What was? What was the
For
next one after that?
Gilbert, after Gilbert,
Yeah.
I have a 4-fight contract with the UFC. So
Okay.
my next fight was against Thomas Gifford in the UFC.
If I remember, you knocked him out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. I remember that.
Demolished that fight.
Yeah, I remember that. That was hard to watch. I mean, he did not want to give up, hands out. He was a true pure heart. But man, your hands were on point that fight.
That was also a 4-day notice. Yeah.
Dana White, if you're listening, I'm gonna tag you in this post. Dana White, can this guy get just 2 weeks to train?
I like the short notice fights because that gives them no time to look at my footage.
Right.
And oh, he's this kind of fighter. They're just like, oh, okay, Mike Davis, let's go, let's do it, and they don't have no idea what I'm capable of.
So you prefer? So are you just 100% all year round? I'm preparing all the time.
All year round, I'm pretty much ready.
Wow.
I mean, not this year. This is a bad year, but
2020 has been tough. I mean, Dana White's new facility, Fight Island, right?
Yeah.
I saw the plans for this thing. Holy cow! Like, this thing is gonna be beautiful.
No, they're running.
But I guess he's gonna build, isn't he? Aren't they supposed to build some type of stadium or something?
They have everything set up.
It is
since July. They've been doing fights there.
Oh wow! I thought I didn't know it was like fully constructed. I just figured they were running like somewhere near it, but it's fully operational.
Yeah, they've been there many times already.
Wow. Okay, so that's incredible. So I assume going in 2021, we're gonna see more of you.
I'm gonna try and get in there as many times as I can.
Man, I can't wait to see you fight again because one thing I love about your fights is you're a striker, but you have heart and you got good ground game. I mean, I thought you had good ground game before, but you've been training out of a camp down in Miami, right?
Yeah, Coconut Creek, American Top Team.
Right, and some of the fighters you've been training with, is one of them Brock? Is it
Brock Weaver, Jorge Masvidal, Dustin Poirier, Renato Moicano, Marlon Morales.
Man,
literally all the top UFC fighters. They're all
dude, that is awesome. That's like the best environment to go train in.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you don't want easy people. You want a challenge.
That's why I feel like whenever I'm going to my next fight in the UFC, they're already in the top 5, top 10 of the UFC in my division. Some of them, 155. So if I'm fighting someone that's like ranked 70, is a nobody to a top 5 guy.
Right.
So I already feel like I can beat anyone going all the way up to the top.
Wow.
I can't wait. I'm already fighting with the top people.
You got me excited. If you had a fight right now, I'd go. I got to see this new version of Beast Boy Davis because I'm telling you right now, he's an animal. If you guys don't know who he is, tell them where they could check you out, check out your workouts. Because obviously with the pandemic, you probably had to change some things up.
Yeah.
Gyms were closed. You probably had to do your own personal workouts. How are you getting by with your workouts now? And where can they find you if they want to follow you? And
so with 2020, back in March, everything closed down. The whole world shut down. So I was doing a lot of my stuff at home. I was doing bike rides because I'm able to stay away from people, go for like 30-mile bike rides. I do a lot of my stuff at my gym at my apartment complex now. Ever since I moved here in June, they have their own gym where it's not really closing as long as people wear masks and do the right procedures and stay 6 feet apart. That's all gone now. So now I can just work out as much as I want there. And I've been lifting, doing cardio, staying in shape, getting ready for my next event. And I do post a lot of my workouts on my Instagram, which is Mike Davis MMA. I have a Twitter. I don't really use it, but it's Mike Davis MMA as well. Those are the only 2 things I'm really on. And if you wanted to talk to me, I do respond to everybody. So if you have questions about my workouts or if you want some help with nutrition and stuff like that, I do respond to nearly everybody.
Awesome. You heard it, guys. check it out. Check him out on Instagram. If you haven't found him, I highly recommend you check it out. You could probably see some of the highlights from some of the knockouts and fights that you had previously. And rolling into 2021, you're going to see more of Mike Davis. I can't wait to see this new mold that you've created. I can't wait.
I was given a date for January 23rd.
Ooh,
so
yeah.
We will just see how that plays out.
Wait a minute. Isn't Connor fighting in January too? Wait,
January 23rd.
Is that the same card?
Yeah.
It's possible?
It's possible.
Oh my God.
And it'll be in Abu Dhabi.
Oh. Dude, okay, now I'm fired up. I'm about to go hit this punching bag behind me, get fired up. I'm going to call you up when I'm ready to test my game. And you're going to teach me some things, right?
Well, let's do it.
Oh, man. Mike, I appreciate you coming in today, showing the love. Guys, if you, again, catch him on his Instagram, message him if you have any questions. He's a real deal. He's amazing. Dana White loves this guy. Loves him. He calls him an animal. And there's so much more to come. His workouts are intense. If you haven't seen how physically fit you are, you make me jealous. All right, you make me jealous. Walking around like a Roman statue. But he's a real deal. And Mike, I appreciate you coming in today and showing the love to the community. The LFam Podcast, Streamer Podcast.
Oh, yeah.
You guys could check us out on Spotify. You can check us out on iTunes. We're on all the podcast channels. And man, I thank you for everything that you've done to just take the time to be with us.
It's been a pleasure, honest. This is definitely one of the more fun interviews that I've ever been on.
Man, I appreciate it. So much love. Send my love to all the MMA fighters. Our prayers and best wishes with you. More importantly, I hope, God keeps you safe. God keeps you blessed where you don't have any injuries going into this new year. And have an amazing, rest of the day.
Awesome. And Thanksgiving for everybody who's out there celebrating Thanksgiving. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving to you too. Take care.